Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another wonderful DMS quarterly safety training. This is just a friendly reminder. There's a lot of activity in the tropics right now, so this is a friendly refresher and reminder. If you could go over your family plans that we talked about last quarterly safety training, so it should be all fresh in your minds, and you should have the paperwork still. If not, let me know and we can send it to you. But you should be looking those over just to make sure you're aware, monitor the weather. We're expecting a lot of rain. It could, their concern is it could flare up and increase in intensity right before it hits the coast. Right now we're planning for a Category 1. We're hoping for less, so we'll see. And then also, John Collins, our security expert, we're talking about security today. It was in the news, FBI is investigating 2 major hacks into Illinois and Arizona voting registries. So today being election, an open, it's very interesting, and it just proves the point that we need to be very aware of what's going on. And without further ado, John Collins.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you coming out. Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for showing up. Like Doug mentioned, I'm here to talk to you about information security, computer security, internet security, whatever you want to call it. I want to make you aware as DMS employees what you need to look out for, what you be aware of, how to protect yourself, how to protect DMS data, things like that. So I'm sure, as Doug mentioned, there's hacking in the voting system, there's hacking corporations, there's hacking of state government operations, schools, universities, all the time. This is actually, excuse me, a live demonstration of active cyber attacks going on around the world right now. This happens 24/7. Countries attacking other countries, companies attacking other companies, individuals attacking other individuals, etc. So this happens consistently throughout the day. Okay, what I'm going to step you through is this is a new cybersecurity training course put together by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement in coordination with the Agency for State Technology. This is the new statewide security awareness training for state employees. We're going to just quickly step through this. At any point you have a question, let me know. Raise your hand. Okay. During this training, you're going to learn the importance of internet and computer security, as well as some tools to ensure you're doing your part to protect the agency's data. Every employee who has access to the state government network has an expectation to practice good security practices and make sure that the data is kept safe and secure. All right. I'm sure many of you have heard about hacks going on all the time. This includes state agencies. There have been actually a recent spate of what's called ransomware attacks on state government agencies. If you're not familiar with ransomware, it basically is someone sends you an attachment or an infected web link. You click on that, your computer is infected. It then encrypts all the data on your hard drive and pops up the screen and says, I want money. You want to see your data again, you got to send me money. Okay, that's ransom. It's like highway robbery. Someone's got your data, you can't get back to it until you pay them money. That's the big thing going on around state agencies. There have been several state agencies hit with that. Some have had to shut down their operations completely for a day or two, which can really seriously disrupt operations. We don't want that to happen. So let's look at some recent breaches that made the news. One was the Sony Entertainment. I recall back in 2014, some comedians made a movie and kind of poking fun at Kim Jong-un, North Korea. He didn't like that, so he ordered his hackers to go and hack the Sony website and release all the movies they had in production before they got released in theaters. Cost them untold millions of dollars in lost revenue. It cost them about $15 million to clean up that mess. They compromised employee personal information. They compromised customers' credit card information, millions of them. Sony's big security gaffe was they kept all their passwords in a folder on the root of the C drive called passwords. And it was not encrypted. It's like, here's where the passwords are, please come get them. And we're not gonna have any security on that folder whatsoever. So they really deserve to be hacked. Oregon Department of Employment. That's Oregon's equivalent of our Department of Economic Opportunity, okay? Same thing. Hacker got into their system through a website vulnerability that they did not patch. And someone was able to use the job search engine to basically extract all the customers' information out, including 1.3 million users' names, home address, social security number, date of birth, employment history, basically everything I would need to open up, get a car loan in your name, get a home mortgage in your name, file a false tax return in your name. That's what is number one when it comes to that, fraudulent tax returns. So this kind of information is very valuable to someone who wants to use it for monetary gain. That particular breach cost Oregon at least $16 million to clean up. South Carolina Department of Revenue. Of course, we have a Department of Revenue as well. We're responsible for collecting taxes for the most part. They were hacked, and all the bank details of 3.3 million businesses were stolen. 1.9 million social security numbers were compromised. And it was all triggered by one employee who got an infected email attachment. Now, if you get a suspicious email from someone you don't know, has an attachment, don't open it, okay? You see something that looks suspicious, and you're like, I don't know who this is from, stop right there, call IT, take a look. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes no, it's perfectly legitimate, that's fine. If it's not, I can do some investigation, find out if it's got bad payload on it, and make sure that you don't click on that and it doesn't infect our files. Give you a couple of examples of how malware has affected other organizations I've worked with. What I'm talking about are data breaches. That is when someone who's unauthorized gets access to or steals this kind of information. That is considered a breach, and by law we have to report that. Either if it's health information, we have to report it to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. If it's your birth information or your other type of personally identifying information, we have to report that to the Attorney General's office, Agency for State Technology. There's all these statutory reporting requirements we have to do. And it costs money, because then you have to notify everybody who is affected. So if there were 1.3 million people affected, you got to send out 1.3 million letters. Tell people, oops, someone got to your data. They're never happy about that. So Department of Management Services works closely with the Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center and the U.S. Computer Emergency Readiness Team, which is part of Homeland Security, to give us information about these types of attacks that are occurring, especially that are affecting state agencies, so we can be on the lookout. And we'll send you notifications if there's a certain type of ransomware going around. I'll send you guys an email just to let you know this is what to look for. Look for this type of attachment coming from this person, information like that. Okay. First one, as I mentioned to you, is be very suspicious of email links and attachments. That's the number one way people can get access to your information. So be very careful if you receive an email from someone you don't know, or saying, hey, take a look at this, especially if it's a file that ends in .zip, zip, called a zip file. WinZip was a program created a long time ago when the internet was really slow and you wanted to send your mother, 25 pictures of your kids or something like that. You had to compress it down to a small size and send it. Well, people could use that to put viruses inside that zip file, and the antivirus software can't see inside the zip file. So I can get that through your network security, and if it gets you to open it, it just opened Pandora's box and now you're infected. So be very wary of those types of attachments. Because they can contain malware. Malware has many different variations, has many different types of malware. Mal is bad, Italian for bad, you're not Italian, Latin for bad. Just any type of bad software that you don't want on your computer. It takes the form of three main types of malware. The first one, which many of you are familiar with, is called a virus. Okay, we'll talk about that. Virus is a self-replicating program used to infect other files or hosts. It can infect a computer, it can infect a file, infect a file server, anything like that. Once it's on a computer, the first thing it tries to do is, what other computers can I see out there? Who can I infect next? And it tries to reach out to anything that that computer has access to and tries to pass it on. It's like your sick coworker who comes in with flu and goes, and you cough over everybody, making everybody sick. You don't want that. You don't spread the virus around. Viruses contain a payload file, which is the bad code that does bad things. It can steal your password, it can lock up your computer, it can encrypt all your information, it can secretly watch what you're doing while you're not aware it's doing that. Many different things. Key thing is, a virus cannot affect you unless you give it permission. Okay? The way you give it permission is, I'll get this email from Joe Schmo at someplace.com, and hey, look at this really important invoice I got. Well, I don't even work in payment. What's this? Invoice. Let me open it. You're done. Okay? You have to do something. You have to interact with that to basically let it into your environment. So again, if you see a suspicious email, you're not sure who it came from, you're not sure about the attachment, sometimes they'll even craft the email so it looks like it came from someone that you know. But if anything that looks suspicious about that, hit the brakes, don't click on it, call IT, we'll check it out, make sure it's safe. Another form of malware is called a worm. This is not one you typically see. A worm is different than a virus, because a virus has to be attached to a file. A worm doesn't need to be attached to anything. It just traverses the network. It's like this random free-flowing code that goes around and tries to find security holes in your network. But again, you get infected with a worm, pass it on to the network if you open an infected attachment, for example. Or you click on a link that you're not sure where it goes to. Basically, worms are designed to take advantage of known vulnerabilities and configuration weaknesses. That's your job, is to go out and find all the security holes and then report back to the hacker and go, here's how you can get into this network. Here's what you can attack. Okay? That's what it wants to know. The last main type is called a Trojan horse. For those of you who aren't familiar with the classic story of the Trojan horse, back in ancient Babylonian times, I think it was, these two nations were battling. They'd been battling for many years. They were mortal enemies trying to destroy each other. Well, one got the idea, we'll send them a peace offering. So on this giant wooden horse, it's like a statue, you know, it'll be an honor to them. We'll show them, hey, we're giving you an olive branch. So they drew this big Trojan horse up to the gates of the castle. Here, the king is giving you this gift. Great, okay, open the castle doors, let's let them in. Well, the Trojan horse was full of soldiers with weapons. They busted out and started killing everybody. Okay, that's essentially what a Trojan is. Comes in secretly as an attachment, you don't know what it is, but once you open it, that's when bad things happen. I can give you a real world example. Someone who got a Trojan on a USB drive they brought into work with their music files on it. Of course, they were downloading music files from anywhere I could find it on the internet. Oh, I like that artist. Oh, I don't know where this is from. Here's a nice Russian site that's got some music files. I'll pull it from there. Brought it into work, plugged it in their computer. Unfortunately, that person worked in the finance area, had access to several bank accounts with several $1 million in it. And when they opened that attachment, a music file, unknowingly, installed the Trojan, and began recording everything that she typed, recording that to someone else, somewhere, you don't know where. Every username, every password, everything she ever typed in was being sent somewhere else. So that person then took that information and logged into the banking website she had access to, stole over $100,000 in less than 10 minutes. Before anyone even knew what happened, $100,000 was gone. Had to get the FBI involved, had to get the police department involved. Big mess. All from unknowingly someone opening a file attachment they really shouldn't have brought into work anyway. So just be aware that's the type of activity that can occur. All right. So one piece of security that you're responsible for is protecting your password. So what does your password do for you? Well, that is the key to the castle, right? When you first get to work, what's the first thing you do? You log in your computer, you log in, you get onto the DMS network, right? That's how you get access to SharePoint, that's how you get access to your files and folders, internet, everything. So always protect your password. Never share your password with anybody else, no reason to. If someone else needs access to something, you should go through the proper channels and request that access. It needs to be approved by someone like their supervisor. Say this person should have access. So IT, we don't just give access to, hey, I want access to the whatever drive. Okay, fine, here you go. No, it doesn't happen that way. You make sure, okay, what department do you work in? You want access to finance spreadsheets? You don't work in finance. Why do you need that? So they make sure that people are authorized to see that information. So the way you get to any of this information is your username and password. So you need to make sure it is a good, strong username and password. So let me give you an example of a weak password. It's a short password or consists of all lowercase letters, or it's any word in the dictionary, any word, or anyone's name, or your pet's name. That is a terrible, terrible password. Use as your password any word in the dictionary, it would take me less than 2 seconds to crack your password. Less than 2 seconds. I know the tool to use, I can get right in. Use password, your password, it won't even take 1 second. I'm into everything you've got access to. Use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh, that's complicated. If we're going to figure that out. That's an easy one. Hackers have lists of all the most commonly used passwords, millions of them. It will run through all million of them in a matter of seconds. Try this one, try that one, try that one, until it finally breaks in. It's called a brute force attack. It's just going to keep trying until it gets through. So how do you protect against that? Have a strong password. So, what is an example of a strong password? The longer the password is, the better, stronger. Because as these programs that hack the passwords go through, you try, one-letter combinations, and you try every combination of that, and then you try 2 letters, and you go through every combination of that, and then 3 letters. And the longer you get, because every character, there's up to 128. There's letters, numbers, special characters. There's 128 possible combinations for every letter you put in there. So 128 times 128 times 128. The longer you make it, it's exponentially more difficult to guess. If you create a password with at least 15 characters, I don't care what it is, the time it would take to crack that password is about 10,000 years. 2 seconds, 10,000 years. Big difference, right? So, here are some ways to make it easy for you to remember to create a good long password. Use what's called a passphrase. For example, I took security awareness training in 2016, 15, and learned a crazy long password example. So you can make that as a phrase, ITSATIN2015 at LACLPE, exclamation point. Okay, that means nothing to an attacker. They don't know how to even begin to guess that password. If you remember it as a passphrase, you can remember it pretty easily. So that's one way to remember it. Lyrics from your favorite song, line from your favorite movie, whatever is relevant to you that you're going to remember. Another good way is to create a combination of common words. I told you not to use common words, just one single word is your password. If I use yellow snail dollhouse sign, maybe that means something to you, or zebra dog, cookie monster, I don't know, something like that. That is longer than 15 characters. That is a very strong password. If you can use upper lowercase, a number, and a special character, that's even stronger. Okay, so try to incorporate that. Maybe use a 0 instead of an O, or a 3 instead of an E, or something like that. Makes it even more complex, harder to guess. Another good security practice is to back up your files regularly. Any files that you have on SharePoint are always backed up. Any files that you put on a network drive, H drive, S drive, K drive, L drive, different people in different areas have different letter drives, but anything you store there, we back up every night. If it gets infected with a virus, we can go back from yesterday and get it back. If you accidentally delete it, we can get it back. If you store everything, I know a lot of people do this, they store it on my C drive. Well, I'm working on this project for 3 months, I got it on my C drive. One day, clunk, hard drive stops working. Ah, that's my file, I worked on that project for 3 months, it's gone. If you didn't back it up, you can't get it back. Hard drive, sometimes things fail. It's always good to put it in a place where it's always going to be backed up and recover it. Is anyone familiar with OneDrive yet? OneDrive, some people, no? Okay. I'll show you a quick example. Go here to the main DMS webpage. Anywhere in SharePoint, it looks like this, and I'm sure you guys have your own SharePoint areas that you work in. Up here at the top left is your app picker. You'll always see this here whenever you're in Office 365 or SharePoint environment. You click on that, and here's all the applications you have access to. You get access to your Outlook email through the browser. You don't have to have the Outlook program installed on your computer. I get access to my calendar, my contacts, Microsoft Word online. I may be on a computer, I don't have Word installed, but I can still use Word through the browser. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And of course, I also have access to OneDrive, which is like SharePoint for one. It's my SharePoint, okay? That's where I store all my work. I can create any folders I want, all the files I want. You have a terabyte of data. You've got everything you've ever worked on, the history of work. You can store in this thing and not have plenty of space. So, and that's all included with our subscription. So this is better. You want to store things here. It's secure, it's encrypted, it's backed up. You can access it anywhere, anytime. It can be on your work computer, it can be at home, it can be on your phone. You can access this stuff anytime. So it's a better place to store stuff. Okay. Another good practice is to be aware of when using public Wi-Fi. A lot of you might travel. If you have a laptop computer or tablet, you're out on the road, stopping off at McDonald's or Starbucks or something, just be aware that Wi-Fi network is not secure. And in many cases, like coffee shops, there could be someone 20 feet away with a laptop that's intercepting everything that you're typing in. You connect to public Wi-Fi, it's not secured. I can see everything you're doing. I can literally see what you're doing on your screen from over here, if I'm sophisticated enough to know what I'm doing. So always be careful of that. Show you a quick video on this.
Hello, Venus speaking.
Hey, Janet, just how's the conference going?
It's going well. I'm learning a lot of great stuff. I'm actually on break right now.
Hey, do you remember the security we're working on? Really, you just called asking for that file. You're the only one that has it on your laptop. Please send that to me right away.
He just called her and said, hey, send me that confidential information. Should you do it? Should you go ahead and send it? Or should you find a security action? Let's choose that one.
Actually, I don't have access to a secure connection right now. There's only open Wi-Fi here at the cafe. I can send you the file as soon as I'm back at the hotel where it's secure.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you were in the hotel. That'll be fun. Enjoy the rest of the conference, yeah?
Okay, right, and did the right thing. I'm in a public Wi-Fi space, I better not send this confidential information because I don't know, I can't trust the network I'm on. Okay. Another good practice is to use password protected screensavers. We already enforce this for all DMS computers. If you walk away from the computer and you don't lock it, it will lock itself in 15 minutes. This is to make sure that you leave, go to lunch, someone can't just walk in your office and go log in and send an email to your boss saying, I think you're stupid and I think you should fire me, I dare you. You don't know what they're gonna do. You just leave your computer wide open. Don't laugh, because I actually worked with a guy who did that. He was a security officer. If you left your computer unlocked, he would go and send emails to your boss that were rude and offensive. And like, I would not go that far. He wanted to embarrass people, and he did. Quick way to do it, on the way out, like if you go on vacation, what do? You lock your windows, right? There's a Windows key right to the left of your space bar, like little squares. Window L, lock windows. You can do it with one hand, you put it on the way out. Very important when you go on break, go to the bathroom, go home for the day, please lock your computer. That's a good security practice. Download files only from an approved source. If you don't know where it's coming from, better to not download it, or at least ask permission or ask somebody. Is this the right place? Are these the files I'm supposed to be retrieving? Make sure that somebody knows it's a trusted source where they come from, because you don't know if it has a virus in it or anything like that. Do not give out information to unverified individuals. This is very important. A lot of DMS gets a lot of public records requests. Okay, a lot of what we deal with is public record. We have to produce it. This report I've been working on about, network wiring or something like that. But there's certain types of information, like health information that the SGI has, or personal information HR has, that is exempt from public records. John Q. Citizen cannot request my health records, for example. That's confidential under federal law. You can't have that. The email I sent to my boss yesterday, yeah, you can see that. So just be aware, when you work for DMS or any other state agency, you have no expectation of privacy. Anything you do on that computer is monitored, audited, logged, and is discoverable by anyone who wants to see it. I want to see any email you produce, any letter you've typed. So just be aware of that. Careful what you send an email. So, if someone says, I want you to send me confidential information, make sure they are who they say they are, that they're authorized, make sure they work where they say they work, confirm that, and have a need to know the information, okay? I'm a security manager, okay? If I need to, I can get access to any information on the state network. Doesn't mean I'm authorized to, or that I have a need to know it. If there's a security incident at the SGI, there's health information that's been compromised, breached, then I jump in and go try to find out what's going on. But I don't just go browse medical records for fun. I'm not authorized, I have no need to know that information. Even if you work in that area where there's confidential information, you're not supposed to share it with someone outside who has no business seeing the information. So a lot of times people use different techniques to get that information out of you. Phishing emails are one way. They're designed to steal your information, trying to get you to give them information. They'll pretend to be someone they're not, pretend to work somewhere they don't work. They'll tell you anything. You might be prompted to log into your bank's website and change your password, or you might be prompted to, your computer's broken, there's a problem with it, click here to fix it. You ever see something like that? Do not click on it. I guarantee you, DMS IT takes care of all that for you. You will never receive an email from outside saying there's a problem with your computer, you need to click here to fix it. Okay? There's a problem with your computer, call IT, we'll fix it. So this young lady here received a suspicious email. What should I do? It's telling me I should type in my username and password. Should I do that? Or should I notify my supervisor? Thinking that's probably the better answer.
Hey, James. Can you come take a look at this email? Something looks a little suspicious to me.
Let me take a look.
This isn't an agency email. This looks like some kind of phishing scam. We need to report this to IT right away.
Good answer. If it looks suspicious, better call IT. Always safer that way.
All right, so how do you spot a phishing email? What are some things to look for? Well, number one, I mean, you wouldn't tell me anything wrong with this email. It looks kind of weird. Okay?
Yeah, well, we're updating.
One thing, update passwords. I don't even know what passwords? You see misspellings. A lot of times these attackers are from other countries. English is not their first language. So if you see a lot of misspelled words, that should be your first clue. Like, either this person's not very well educated or they don't speak English. So that's the first clue. Update, oh, okay, misspelled words, that's weird. Oh, it's from Desktop Help at blaagency.net. What is that? Okay, what agency is that? That isn't an agency. That's some fake domain I just created to make you think I'm for an agency. I don't know that. That's weird. Not an agency email address. Not dms.myford.com. Not dor.state.fl.u. It's not something I recognize. So be suspicious of that. A lot of times they'll say, we found a problem with your computer. Click here. Here's the link. It might say update your information or click here to fix the virus or whatever it is. Good way to find out where it points. So you see these hyperlinks. It might say www.bankofamerica.com or something like that. But what you see is not always what you get. Okay? Might say update information or it might be web address. When I hover over it, it points someplace completely different. So the update information actually sends me to get.passwords.net. That ain't good, right? So always hover over those links and go, where's this really taking me? Don't always trust what it says literally, because that could point somewhere completely different. So that's another example of what to look out for. Especially if it's pointing to something else, instead of .us or .com or something you're familiar with, it's like .en or .tu or .ru or .tz, something at the end. Usually those two-letter codes are a country code. It might be Russia, it might be Bolivia, it might be Tonga. I've seen them from all over the world. So if it's those last two letters and it's not a .com, be very suspicious. Some people may use social engineering, which is be a con artist or someone who's trying to pressure you to give you out information. But the director said, I need this information. Gotta have it. Please help me. If I don't find this information, I'll be fired. Have you ever heard of this? Maybe this person called, I've never heard of you. I don't know, I'm not familiar with your name. I don't know where you work. What do you mean Secretary Powell's going to fire you if I don't send this information? That sounds kind of weird. Always okay, if you're suspicious, go, let me get your name and number, I'll call you back. Let me check with my supervisor. Now, if it's a legitimate person, they'll go, okay, that's fine. But they go, no, don't call your supervisor. Don't tell anybody. That's when you should really go, I'm definitely not giving you the information now, because you're a weird person. Okay? I might say, hey, don't you remember me? I met you at that thing, that conference last year, remember? I'm that guy. You can trust me. I don't know you. They'll try anything. Just don't give out the information unless you know who they are. Also be aware of what's called your digital footprint. You put information out there, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever it is. It's okay to put some information out there, but not everything. For example, some people have said, well, I'm so excited because starting next Friday, me and my wife are going to go on a Hawaiian vacation for 2 weeks. It'd be awesome. All your friends are like, congratulations, send pictures. To a potential robber, it's like, great, you're not going to be home for 2 weeks. You know you won't be there. I'm going to go take your TV and all your appliances while you're gone. So just be careful. It can work for good or bad, what you post out there. Sometimes people can use that information for social engineering. Now I know where you work. Now I know what your work hours are. Now I know what your car is. Now I know where you know what I'm saying? I know where you live. I get all this information together. And last but not least are know and follow DMS security policies. Okay? I'll show you how to get to those. Go to the main DMS at work SharePoint page. I'm sure you're all familiar with that. Over here on the left-hand side, policies and procedures. Always there. On that, go to information technology. Get policies on wiping sanitization, which is wiping the data off a hard drive when we retire a computer. We don't just put it in the garbage or donate it to a school with all DMS data on it. We've got to wipe it clean. Information security awareness, which is why you're all here today. How to handle confidential information. How we push out virus updates, antivirus, anti-malware computers. Security incident response reporting. You see a suspicious email. You get infected with a virus. You get a suspicious phone call from someone asking for information they're not, should not have access to. Please report that to IT. We'd love to know about it so we can make sure it does not happen. Okay? And of course, we have a risk management policy, which is to manage our overall risk in many different areas: networking, email, internet, things like that. Okay? That pretty much wraps it up. Does anyone have any questions? It's been burning to ask. Yes, Dan.
How secure are cell phones? Everybody's on their cell phone, they're doing business on cell phones. We don't really ever hear much about antivirus or protection on your cell phone.
It's a very good question because a lot of this information you can now access through your phone. I can access to my email, Outlook email on my phone, Word documents, my OneDrive, my SharePoint. I can get all that on my phone. It's just a mini computer I'm holding in my hand. Depending on the platform, the three big ones are, of course, Apple's iOS, Android, different flavors of Android for Google, Samsung, Nexus phones, things like that. There's Windows phones, which Windows is kind of getting out of that business. I guess they can't compete with Android and Apple. A lot of them have built-in security features. For example, Apple's iOS encrypts all the data in transit and rest, but it has security vulnerabilities. In fact, there's one that recently came out, has been affecting Android phones for quite a while, and now also Apple phones, unless you update to the latest version, 9.3.5, which I'll send out an email soon about. But in that particular case, all someone has to do is send you a text message that's crafted a certain way, and now I can take over your phone. I can turn on the camera, I can turn on the microphone anytime I want, I can listen to what you're doing, I can watch what you're doing on the screen, I can capture everything you're typing. Very dangerous stuff. So it's very important to keep your phone software up to date, the latest version as much as you can, because there's many different vulnerabilities out there. One of the things we're working toward is there is a component of this Microsoft Office 365 called Intune, which we're going to any state-issued phone will be controlled through Intune, so we can automatically push these security updates to the phone. We don't have to manually do anything. And we can push these applications to your phone and limit what you can download and what you can do on the phone, because it is a state-issued device. We want to keep it protected. So we're moving in that direction. We're just kind of getting all this newly configured. We migrated our email. So in the very near future, we'll be able to control these kind of security updates to the phone and push out encryption, push out virus updates and things like that. Best thing you can do is keep your phone up to date. Yes, ma'am.
So if I get a text message, how do I know? And what do I not do?
Well, the problem is you won't know. I personally use an iPhone. If you update your phone to 9.3.5, that patch just came out a few days ago. I can assist you in doing that if you need help with that. Troy, okay. I think there's Nougat just came out. It's a new version 7.0. It's a new one. Android is a lot more open, so there's a lot more things you can do with it. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. But the best thing to do is keep it up to date, because every time there's a new vulnerability found, they'll quickly try to patch it with a new version. So latest version is always best.
So is it if I open that text message, if I don't open it, is that?
I think they only have to send it to you, which is pretty scary and dangerous. They just have to send you a text, kind of take it over your phone. That's pretty scary stuff. Now that has not happened, that's not widespread yet. It looks like it was created by a nation state, we're not sure which one. Some country to basically, they're trying to target people who speak out against their government, let's put it that way. So they'll send specially crafted texts to those people, so that now, okay, you're speaking out against my administration, I'm going to now turn on your phone so I can listen to all your conversations while you're talking to your cohorts about how to take over my government, or something like that. Sometimes it's for state spying, sometimes it's a criminal wanting to make money, sometimes it's just someone who's really creepy and wants to spy on people. You don't know. So, but the problem is it's getting so easy for these tools. A lot of these tools are out there, they're either free or they're very low cost. A disgruntled employee says, you fired me, I'm going to get back at you. For $50 or less, I can take down your organization. Okay? If that organization is not properly secured their network, it's easy. I can pay someone else $50. Shut them down. You can't get SharePoint, the DMS website doesn't work. That's a bad thing. MFMP shut down, people first shut down. Imagine what happened if that happened. We'd all be in trouble. So again, emphasize the fact, you get a strange email from someone you don't recognize, strange attachment, don't open it, because that type of thing can be used to stop services permanently. Any other questions? Should I go back and show you the map? These are all the attacks going on right now. Anyway, the best thing you can do is be aware, be alert. See something weird, suspicious, your computer's acting funny, please call IT. We'll check it out. No harm, no foul. If there's nothing going on, we'll say, hey, we checked it out, your computer's fine. Or it might go, you got a virus. We're going to wipe it clean so it doesn't affect you. We'd like to know about it, because otherwise it spreads to other computers and the problem gets worse if we don't know about it. Okay. So I appreciate you all coming out. If you have any questions anytime, give me a call. And thanks so much for your time.